technique we as evaluators frequently use is surveys. Yeah? Surveys, as someone who has been impacted, what is your experience of this intervention? What has your experience of this intervention been? And whereas the consultation, one-to-one consultation, tends to be relatively narrowcast, surveys tend to be pretty broadcast. You will typically, in your evaluations, be surveying, if not all, most of your program beneficiaries. You may also be surveying quite a lot of those people who've come to your program and who you have turned down. Yeah? Because you want to understand what they've done as a result of being turned down, to begin to understand what added value your program has delivered. Yeah? As I say, two groups of beneficiaries, those who you intended to support, and don't forget that very often you actually end up supporting people who you shouldn't have done. They just get into the system. Yeah? And non-beneficiaries, typically those who were ruled out from a project, from participation, because for one reason or another they didn't fit. They were a large firm, they were a manufacturer of munitions, tobacco, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Again, the surveys can be face-to-face, can be telecom, postal, online. In my practical experience, a well-designed telecom questionnaire is probably optimal. Using a specialist survey house, they can do a lot of surveys a day with a standard computer script, so we're taking out any biases or any skews in the data. Online questionnaires for surveys, a bit hit and miss. Those who respond tend to respond quite well. You get a lot of people who don't respond, and then jokers who just put in complete rubbish. Yeah. So what benefit did you get from this program? And you see them typing in £1 billion of the profit. And when you run your spreadsheet, yeah, and get your average benefit on profit, you get a fantastically good figure because some Herbert has put in a stupid number. Yeah. So watch out for, again, the quality issues that come out of this. And typically, when you're doing these surveys, what you're looking for is a self-reported view and set of observations from the respondent to what their program experience has been, how it was for them. Okay? The difficulty with surveys is they are very prone to what I call last event bias. So if you've had a particularly good encounter with a beneficiary and you then survey them, you're probably going to get quite a positive response back. And if you've just had a bad row with them or not paid them some money or treated them a bit roughly, they're going to give you a bad survey response. Yeah? They tend not to be, these survey groups, when you respond to them, they tend not to be very rational. They tend to remember you as they last interacted with you. So if you're really good at pissing off your beneficiaries, yeah, think carefully about doing a survey because you might not get a particularly good response back. And the other thing that's particularly problematic, and this is going to be an issue for the Commission on some of its wider impact work, memory decay. People just forget. I typically work on the basis that after about 2 years, anybody who you have assisted has probably actually largely forgotten how it was. They'll know they got some money, they know they've got some involvement, but the nuances, the envelope around it, the wider experience, they will have forgotten about. You might even get, as we often get on the surveys we do, Interreg who? What's Interreg? Yeah? No, you've just had 50,000 euros from them. Oh, yeah, that's in, yeah, oh, I remember now, sort of thing, yeah, to remember that, yeah. So, again, just be careful when you're framing, or your consultants are framing up methods of work for impact evaluations, how best to do it. Absolutely critical thing on surveys is good questionnaire design. I was always taught by my master in consultancy, Roger Quince, which is the Q in SQW, when you design questionnaires, Simon, for survey work, you will sweat blood. When you have sweated blood, you know you've got a good questionnaire, because if you get a questionnaire design wrong 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 times, and you can never get it back, yeah, without looking very, very foolish. So be really careful in the design of any questionnaires and the ability to analyse those questionnaires effectively, because you don't just do surveys for the sake of survey's sake, you do surveys to get a load of data that you can do interesting things with on the data and the analysis.